Welcome to First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis, the birthplace of congregational humanism. We carry on that tradition of free thought today, dedicated to promoting a free search for truth, meaning, and justice. Our web address is firstunitarian.org. Thank you for joining us.
So, I didn't know rabbits played. Stick with me. Now maybe, if I'd thought about it, I would have guessed that they play. I mean, I know people who have rabbits as pets, and I'm sure they play with them just like I've played with all the dogs and cats that have been part of my life. But mostly when I think of rabbits, I think of them living out in the wild. Well, and really by wild, what I mean is my northeast Minneapolis neighborhood that is overrun with rabbits, where they're just busy surviving, not making time for some sort of bunny shenanigans. So imagine my surprise, our surprise, parked in a St. Paul neighborhood, about to climb out of the car, Amy and I, and frozen in place as a gaggle of rabbits, I assume they're called gaggles, a gaggle of rabbits play Catch Me If You Can or Tag or some bunny game that I've never heard of. And to be fair, I do not have a deep familiarity with the canon of bunny games. It's three of them at first. Two chasing after the leader, dash through the perfectly bunny-sized hole in the chain link fence, around the planter in the middle of this small yard, under the downspout, and then quick, pivot, turn around and hop over the downspout, back around the planter, around the fence, into the neighbor's yard, and then start the whole pattern over again. They do this 2, 3, 4 times. It's enough to convince me this was not mere chance. This was deliberate. This was like me as a kid taking my Matchbox tracks and making a track for my cars to follow. They knew what they were doing. It's a game they knew how to play. And then a fourth bunny comes hopping along, and a fifth. Hey, they say in bunny, I assume. We love that game. Can we play? And they do. So now it's 5 bunnies chasing each other through the perfectly bunny-sized hole in the fence, or around the planter, under the downspout, back over the planter, or back through the fence. Now this whole thing lasts maybe, 30, 40 seconds, and then some bunny changes the rules or picks a new game, and they scatter into a couple of groups chasing each other out of sight into a backyard. And, Amy and I had things to do. We're on our way to perform in a play at a theater around the corner. But it could wait. We had starring roles. They weren't going to start without us. Pay attention to the world around you, wrote the Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hanh. To the leaves and the flowers, to the birds and the rain. If you can stop and look deeply, you will recognize your beloved manifesting again and again in many forms. There are bunnies playing. There is simple, undiluted joy happening right in front of us. It's delightful, and we're here for it. We let ourselves, Amy and I, be caught by surprise, and once caught, to be held by that surprise in a moment of delight. And now I wonder, has this been going on around me all the time and I just didn't notice? I told you, there's tons, probably literally tons of bunnies in my neighborhood. Under the barrage of headlines about attacks on trans people and on immigrants and on democratic ideals, of rising seas and raging wildfires, and even just in the midst of the day-to-day ordinariness of getting through the day-to-day ordinariness, what else am I not seeing or hearing or smelling, feeling in the tenderness of my heart or in the marrow of my bones? What am I missing because I'm not paying attention to the delight, the wonder surrounding me? Probably a lot. What kind of wood is this? Why does cloth feel soft? How can light feel so welcoming? Serious question, when was the last time you, like Isamu, pressed your ear against a stone, wondering what it was saying, listened to the whispered shh of that stick of driftwood you drag through the sand? If you are Isamu, you wish every day could be this big. Now, the little boy in that story was Isamu Noguchi, a Japanese American who grew up, perhaps unsurprisingly, to be an artist. And when he grew up, he tried to hold on to that child's perspective, a kid's way of experiencing the world, by actually letting himself experience the world. When an artist stops being a child, he once said, he would stop being an artist. So for him, maybe every day could be this big. But I'm no artist, trust me. Can the world be this big for me? Can it be this big for all of us? Honestly, I guess I don't know. And I don't know because I don't know what this big necessarily means. At least, I don't know what it meant for Isamu Noguchi. I don't know if your this big is the same size as mine, if it's the same shape or color or melody as mine, if it's even in the same place. But I do believe we can all make our worlds at least a little bigger by noticing the delights around us. And then maybe by sharing them with the people around us and letting them share theirs with us, then the world gets a bit bigger still. Or maybe, more accurately, we all see a little more of what was already there.
Usha and the Big Digger. Usha loved trucks. She made them bump and roll. Usha loved cartwheels too. If only she could do one. Flippity thump, flippity thump. Flippity thump, crash. Watch out, said her big sister, Artie. Sorry, said Usha. Can you teach me to cartwheel? I'm busy, said Artie. I just found the Big Dipper. What's a dipper? Asked Usha. Show me. It's a big spoon, said Artie. See that box of 4 stars? Connect the dots to make the scoop. The other 3 stars make the handle. Oh, I see the scoop, shouted Usha. Look out, stars. It's the Big Digger. That tree on the right points to the driver. Beep, beep. No way, said Artie. The tree is on the left. It points to the dipper's handle. Can't you tell your left from your right? Usha rolled her truck over Artie's head. It's the Big Digger. Why don't you see it? Quit it, snapped Artie. It's the Big Dipper. Everyone says so. I don't say so, said Usha. She cartwheeled away. Flippity-thump, 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 splat. The next night, their cousin Gloria arrived. She gave Usha a brand new truck. Thanks, Usha said. Now come outside. I'll show you an even bigger truck. The girls looked up. See, Gloria? It's the Big Digger, said Usha. It's still the Big Dipper, Artie grumbled. I see. The big kite. What? Cried Usha and Artie. The top 4 stars are the kite, and the bottom 3 stars are the tail, said Gloria. Because why can't anyone see my Big Digger? Usha moaned. Because it's really the Big Dipper, Artie groaned. Don't you like my kite? Asked Gloria. Usha shouted, it's a digger, digger, digger. It's too loud over here, Artie said. Come on, Gloria. Whirly swirl, whirly swirl, whirly swirly whoosh. Usha got mad. Usha got sad. She wanted to cartwheel too. Flippity-thump. Oof. Usha looked up. Was that the Big Dipper? What about her truck? Big Digger, where are you? She tried more cartwheels. Flippity-thump. She saw the big kite. Flippity-thump. There were all kinds of shapes in the stars. Finally, there was her Big Digger, safe and sound. Flippity-thump, whomp. Artie, Gloria, come back, called Usha. Lie here and look up. It is a big kite, said Artie. Now turn that way, said Usha. All 3 girls scooched around. It is a Big Dipper, said Gloria. They scooched again. Artie and Gloria gasped, oh, and there's the Big Digger. What about that one? Usha asked. Artie gave Usha a squeeze. It's you, Usha. Guess what you're doing, said Gloria. What? Asked Usha. Flippity-thump, flippity-thump, flippity-whoosh. Ta-da!
Our earth is round, writes the poet June Jordan, And that means that you and I, we are always at just a slightly different point on the curve. Literally and metaphorically, our perspectives are never quite the same. The difference, writes Jordan, the difference of our positions will show stars in your window I cannot even imagine. But what Usha and her sister and her cousin learn is that we can imagine the stars in someone else's window if we just scooch around just a little bit. And really, isn't everything made a little more delightful with a bit of scooching? The delights that we experience then are a matter of place. Literal physical place, like this assembly hall where we gather, and probably, certainly mental or metaphorical, emotional place. They are also a matter of time, of being in this time, in this moment. Not all those moments that already happened and we can't change, or in all those things that might happen, that will happen, but aren't happening now. I remember this day, this is years ago now, when our first dog, Oscar, was still just 5 years old. And all of a sudden, I was consumed by the fact that someday, this dog who I loved, still love, that someday, in maybe 10 or more years, he was going to die. And it just dropped on me like this stone. I remember exactly where I was. I was in the bedroom, my side of the bed, and this weight just pulled me down to sit on the bed. And I just sat there, living in a moment that was years away, instead of enjoying the company of this sweet, adorable, champion cuddler of a dog who was with us right there, right then. The past no longer is, taught the Buddha. The future is not yet here. There is only one moment in which life is available, and that is the present moment. Be here now. There's a Zen parable that captures the idea in, as is often the case, rather with Zen parables, rather stark terms. One day a man, while walking through the wilderness, stumbled upon a vicious tiger. He ran, but soon came to the edge of a high cliff. Desperate to save himself, he climbed down a vine and dangled over the fatal precipice. As he hung there, 2 mice appeared from a hole in the cliff and began gnawing on that vine. Suddenly, he noticed on the vine a plump wild strawberry. He plucked it and popped it in his mouth. It was incredibly delicious. Pay attention to the world around you, says Thich Nhat Hanh, and soon you will take in the beloved manifesting again and again in many forms. In a note at the end of Usha and the Big Digger, the author takes delight in seeing all the different things different peoples have seen in those 7 stars. The Greeks saw them as part of the Great Bear. According to folklore, enslaved people in the United States saw a drinking gourd that pointed the way north to freedom. The Anishinaabe see a fisher. The Tuareg in North Africa, a camel. And in parts of India, those stars are known as the 7 sages. It's the same stars, the same light, but different ideas and a different delight. There's a story, I don't remember now where I came across it, but it's of a dinner party at the home of the theologian and professor Paul Tillich. And before dinner, as everyone was gathered in the front room of the house, Tillich would ask everybody standing or sitting around the space to look out and share what they saw. A tree, someone would say. Blooming flowers, the house across the street, somebody walking their dog. And Tillich would nod sagely, as I imagine professors often do. And then he would say, but no one mentioned the window. And of course not. It was a trick question. And the window isn't the thing we see. It's the thing that lets us see. And for Tillich, faith is like that window. Faith, what many humanists might be more comfortable calling a life stance or a perspective. It isn't the world. It isn't reality itself. It's what we see the world, what we see each other, what we see the existence through. The shape, the scope, the color of that window, whether it is scratched or fogged over, tiny and focused, or taking up a whole wall in front of us. All of that defines what we see and how we see it. What we learned from Usha is how well we do cartwheels might define how we see it. And most of the time, we don't think about the window. And that's fine. The window isn't the point. The world is. What we see, hear, experience through the window and how we respond to it, that is the point. But, and I wouldn't have brought up the window if there wasn't a but, because it focuses or directs our attention, because it in many ways defines what we let ourselves perceive, or what we are able to perceive, we also shouldn't let ourselves forget that the window is there. That it might need some repair every now and then, or cleaning, or maybe we need to knock out a wall and put in a whole new window. Now, in Friday's update, I asked you all to share your ideas of art that visualizes congregational or religious humanism, because I'm too lazy to figure out how to decorate my office. And so yes, part of that was me looking for suggestions and farming out the work to all of you. But it was also a bit of a ministerial trick. It was an invitation to look at your own windows, at what frames the ways you look at life, at living, at this interdependent existence, at this congregational humanism idea that draws us together in community every Sunday morning and across the week. Because you all have your own windows, and they are different. And looking at those windows every now and then, not just through them, that is how we responsibly search together for truth and meaning. By every now and then examining the window and realizing the ways they have limited us. And by never forgetting that there might be, that there in fact definitely are, other windows that other people sitting right next to you are looking through and seeing something else. I thought about this idea last Sunday morning, sitting in the back as my friend Nico stood here. And Chad, he told us about a trans teen at General Assembly a couple of years ago. Just a day or two after the Supreme Court issued one of what would become a series of terrible decisions. But this one, allowing states to deny life-affirming care to trans kids. And in that moment, as they were preparing to go up to a session with the UUA president and just a party for the trans kids who were there, Nico and one of the other adults who were chaperoning these kids overhears one of the kids just say, "I love being trans. It comes with so many perks." even as their well-being, as their very humanness was assaulted and undermined, under attack, this teen found delight just in who they are. And I would love to think, I hope, and I do believe that our UU tradition, our lived values of fierce love and radical acceptance, helped frame the window that allowed that child to see the joy of their being, and empowered that kid to unknowingly share that joy with Nico, and years later in this space with us. Is it accurate to say that I got a glimpse of the joy, the human potential that that kid saw through their window? I'm not sure, but I think so. Maybe we can peek out other people's windows. Maybe we can't. But even if we can't, we can soak up the joy, the delight, the view that someone else has. I mean, I have no idea what was racing through the minds of those playful bunnies in a St. Paul front yard. Probably something to do with procreation. Or what my little buddy Oscar was thinking when he would bound across the yard. He was a dachshund, so his legs are a blur. Full speed, ears flapping, tongue lolling, nowhere he really needed to go. He had nothing to do. Or remember the summer sneakers from the reading. Douglas can see their magic through his window. But his dad, maybe not so much. Dad's magic sneaker window was probably painted over years ago. But Dad doesn't have to see the magic to see his son's delight at the prospect of summer sneakers. There's this quote by Ricky Gervais floating around the internet, so you know it's true. Happiness is amazing. It's so amazing it doesn't matter if it's yours or not. Look, I know the world is breaking all the time. There's a line by E.B. White. I wake in the morning torn between the desire to savor the world and to save it. It makes it hard to plan the day. Every time I get up here, I am torn between those things. We live in that tension. I'm not asking you to ignore it. I've spent much of this weekend at the National Convergence for Democracy over at the Convention Center. An event that exists because of the ways our nation is breaking covenant with and dehumanizing its people and its ideals. And even there, knowing what we were up against, we sang. We took delight in each other's company, in the converging faith traditions that call us to see the gifts, the value, the holy humanness in us all. So I am telling you, there are bunnies playing. There are big diggers up there in the sky. There are silly songs, there are terrible jokes, and there are magic sneakers. Joy is there, beloveds. Beauty is among us. Take time to soak it in, because without it, we will never heal the world. And the world is constantly in need of healing. Ashe, blessed be, and may it be so, because in joy and delight we make it so.
Thanks for listening. You can find much more about humanism and what's happening at First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis by visiting our website at firstunitarian.org.